Welcome to the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show, the only productivity show about working less and enjoying life more. Get rid of overwhelming to-do lists, kick anxiety to the curb, and do more of what makes you happy. Are you ready to live life on your own terms? This is true freedom. This is efficiency by design. Welcome to Freeficiency with Dr. Anna Cragen.
Hello, everybody. It is Anna back here for another episode of the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. So, here we go. Okay, so today's topic, we were supposed to have a guest talking to us about the value of routine, but unfortunately we had to reschedule that interview until sometime in March. So instead, today, the topic of the show is going to be how to put your business on autopilot. And if it doesn't seem like it is possible, then stay tuned because I'm going to give you the expert tips on how to make that happen. So, a subtitle of this show's topic can be how to stop asking yourself, what should I work on today? Or what should I work on this week? Or what should I work on this month? So basically, I'm going to teach you my system for how I set up my workflow throughout the month to make sure that I hit all the important areas of my business and nothing falls through the cracks. So, for those of you who are just joining us now for the show, I'm your host, Anna Cragen. I'm a productivity advisor for entrepreneurs. Planning and scheduling is my jam, and my mission is to help everybody lead less stressful and happier lives through the power of being efficient with the time that we have. So, let's go ahead and dive in to today's topic of how to put your business on autopilot, or how to stop asking yourself what you're going to work on every day, week, or month. So, okay, first of all, let's address the question, why would you want to put your business on autopilot? Why would you want to create any kind of system that kind of makes that decision making of what to work on for you? And the reason for that is so that you can be more flexible with your time. When life happens to you, or you get sick, or your family comes to visit, you're not stuck scrambling to do things at the last minute. And you'll see how this applies to the system as we will start to get a little bit more into it. Then you also have the peace of mind knowing that everything will get done in its own time. So you're not scrambling around. You're not trying to think like, oh, what can I do? What can I do now? What is this fire that I need to put out? Everything is kind of calm, cool, and collected, which fits in perfectly with my mission of helping you lead a stress-free life when you're running your business. So, last few shows have been about the life and business juggle or balance, but today's episode is all business. So let's go ahead and dive in. For anybody joining us live, I would love for you to say hi in the comments and participate. And first of all, let me know, what do you currently do to plan your days? Do you struggle with knowing what to do every day, or what to do every week, or what you should be working on? Let me know that in the comments, and I will get back to it soon. So today we have Brittany joining us and Sarah. Hello. I am super happy to see that both of you are here so far. So I really hope that you enjoy this episode, and go ahead and let me know. What are your struggles in terms of when you sit down? Do you know exactly what you're working on, or do you kind of have to look through your to-do list, dig through your notes, trying to see where you are, what you need to do next? Let me know what challenges you have of figuring out what to work on next. So let's see. Okay, Sarah says that she uses Trello and she sometimes struggles with overwhelm and prioritizing. So I also have used Trello before and I really love Trello. Trello is an awesome tool, but just like any digital tool, it's very easy to keep dragging the cards from one list to another. If you don't quite get to them this week, then you have a long list waiting for you already at the beginning of next week. So I definitely understand how that can get overwhelming to do that. So let me go ahead and give you an overview of kind of what I wanted to tell you about this system for how to put it on autopilot. So I am saying so a lot in this episode, but that's okay. Well, basically, what my system hinges on is themed weeks and batching. So those two things are what allows me to basically answer the question of what am I working on at any point in time and knock them out. So for my business, if you think about the general categories of business tasks, they usually fall into about 4 categories, sometimes 5, depending on how you want to segment them. So first is content. You're always creating content for your business, otherwise you're not generating any leads and you're not visible. 2, communication and promotion. So this involves getting newsletters set up or scheduling promotions for your list, or even things like posting on social media or posting in Facebook groups. 3rd is products. So if we don't have anything to sell, we don't really have a business. So that is another category of tasks that we work on in our business all the time. And then 4th is education, because we're all in this to learn the most that we can about doing business. So I like to keep that as a category because a lot of us do watch webinars and attend workshops and do all those things. So there's 4 categories and there's 4 weeks in a month. Sometimes you get a 5th bonus week, but usually no. There's 4 categories and 4 weeks, so you can kind of see where I'm going with this, right? Basically, I theme my weeks and then I batch like tasks together as much as I can. And thank you, Sarah, for recapping that in the comments. So basically, the system hinges on sprints. And if any of you guys are familiar with Scrum, it is similar, it's a little bit similar to that, except each sprint is strictly a week. So what do I mean by sprint? Basically, you set out a task that you want to work on within each category. So for instance, for the content category, usually it's creating content, right? So creating videos or writing blog posts. So the idea is that one of the weeks of the month, you spend exclusively on writing your blog post content or creating your videos or any other tasks that go along with creating the content, such as, for instance, scheduling them to be posted over the next month. And here comes another benefit that you can see now, that everything with this system is done a month in advance. So in January, you are actually creating the content for the whole month of February. So that means when February rolls around, you already have a full month of content and you can start working on March content. So that's just one of the reasons that I really like this system. Another idea is for communication. For the category of communication, you can write all your email newsletters in advance and then schedule them to go out at a certain times that you choose over the next month. So this serves 2 purposes. First of all, you're not stuck there on the night before a newsletter is due, frantically typing at your keyboard, figuring out what you want to say, figuring out what you want to promote, what your call to action is going to be. You simply go and look at the big picture. What is it that your goal is for that month? And then schedule all your newsletters. And Brittany says, I need to do my editorial calendar then. Yes, indeed. So the whole thing about this system is that you're working from the big picture. And when you're working from the big picture, everything becomes so much clearer about what you need to do when. Because let me know if you have ever had this happen to you. You're sitting there and you are struggling to think about what you want to promote. You're like, okay, what should my call to action be? Should I send them to my site? Should I send them to my Facebook group? Should I send them to the sales page for this course that I'm writing? Should I send them to my work with me page? Like, what is my strategy here? But when you have an editorial calendar, it almost feels like you don't have enough time to promote all the things that you want to promote. So really, this is a good problem to have. And Sarah says, many of my things must be spread out, education and family responsibilities. So yeah, that is a good point. Sometimes things do have to be spread out. So for instance, one of the things that you may have noticed that is not on the list of the 4 categories is working with clients one-on-one. Usually you cannot batch a whole week of having client sessions and then not have any the rest of the month. So that usually does not work. So again, like as with everything that I teach, this is a framework. And a framework means that you can tweak it and adjust it to fit what your specific needs for it are. So the 4 categories are just the most popular categories that I've noticed working with people over time. But if one of these does not fit, or does not feel like it would be good to batch it, for instance, like if you want to spread out your education, that's fine. And I'm going to talk a little bit about education and why I choose to batch it later. But just so you know, you can take what you want from this framework, apply it, and then don't worry about the rest. So now we are down to the 3rd category of creating products. So this can be anything from creating a freebie opt-in to get people on your list, to creating a little mini course, to working on your signature program. And so this is anything that you are creating directly for sale. A lot of people ask me, what is the time balance between creating products for sale and actually promoting them? So I'm of the opinion that you should be promoting things all the time. But as I just said in the previous section on communication and promotion, you can actually batch that promotion and schedule it in advance, which actually ends up being better because you're following a strategy and not just panic because the newsletter is due to come out the next morning and you're sitting there trying to write it the night before. Or trying to think about what to post on social media. That is another big one where people waste a lot of time because they don't know what their overarching strategy is. So for instance, if you are, let's say, promoting your mini course, then you already know that all your emails for that month are going to have at least some link or some blurb about your mini course in the email set to go out. And then you already know how to structure your social media postings for the month so that you have a good mix of promotion of your course versus other content that you like to put out, like curated content, your blog posts, your other content, or anything like that. So that is my 2 cents on that. Finally, I'd like to talk about this category of education, especially because we've had a question on it. So the reason that I like to batch my education is because I think, like a lot of you, I really enjoy learning about new strategies that I can implement in my business, new things that other people are doing, and just generally educate myself about what's going on in the online business space. Well, the problem with that is that it can very quickly morph into shiny object syndrome. And let me know in the comments if any of you guys are struggling with shiny object syndrome. And shiny object syndrome, or SOS, has a lot of definitions, but the definition that I like to use for it is moving away from your end goal or your big picture into a completely different direction based on something that you just saw someone else is doing and you think it's super cool and you just have to try it out. Okay, so that is my definition of shiny object syndrome. And let me know if you are also prone to shiny object syndrome yourself. So this can be a really good way to curb that shiny object syndrome, especially as it comes from you watching people's webinars, attending strategy sessions, and all of the fun things that we like to do. And here's how. When you are constantly being exposed to what other people are doing and what other people are saying that you should be doing in your business, you are just constantly inundated with these ideas, and you start to lose track of the big picture goal. You are starting to lose track of why exactly, of where exactly are you going with your business? Are you promoting your course? Are you focusing on visibility, so guesting on podcasts and writing guest blogs? Or are you focused on getting one-on-one clients? So I always say that for maximum efficiency, and so that you can see results in your business, because seeing results and seeing the progress that you make is so crucial. If you're not seeing results, then you won't be motivated to do the work. And as we all know, if you don't do the work, then you're not going to see results anyway, right? So it becomes this kind of downward spiral. Well, I want to get you out of that spiral, get you motivated, and get you seeing results. And you won't see results if you follow all the shiny objects that other people are leaving for you to find online. So this is the reason why I like to batch my education. It's only a week, so I know that I know exactly how much time in a week I have for watching webinars or attending workshops, and let's not forget implementing them, right? Because if you're just consuming them without implementing, then might as well just be a waste of time, right? So having it all batched into a week so you know exactly how much time you have makes you feel or makes you very choosy about what you choose to consume. Very picky, you might say, right? And that is a good thing when you're trying to battle shiny object syndrome. When a new webinar or a workshop or some training session comes across my inbox or somebody tells me about it, I look at when it is and when my education week is scheduled for that month. And I really have to ask myself, is this training session going to allow me to move forward with my business? Is it going to teach me something new that I can apply in my business? And then moreover, am I going to have time to implement it? Or is it going to be another course that's just sitting in my inbox, making me feel anxious? I'm one of those people who are anxious when there's emails in the inbox, because I used to use my inbox as a to-do list manager, which I do not recommend. That is very, very bad practice. But now when I see things sitting in my inbox, it makes me feel super anxious. So anyway, a little bit of a tangent there. But you can see how allowing only 1 week for education stuff can keep you on track with only consuming that content that is going to be immediately valuable to you in serving your larger purpose goal. So you hear me talk a lot about the larger purpose goal. And that's really because I feel like that is the way to do business. If you're not following what your big picture goal is down to the small tasks, if you're not being project focused, then I don't think that you can be very proactive with your time. And being proactive is super important if you are trying to be efficient and if you're trying to have time to do other things other than work on your business. So I'm sure I will talk a lot more about that in the future, but this is just to let you know where I'm coming from with creating this particular system of theming and batching. So let me know if you have questions about the system, and let me just recap it a little bit for you. So the month has 4 weeks, and there are 4 main categories of business tasks that we all work on: content, communication, products, and education. And sometimes, depending on your type of business, there may be another category of tasks that you want to add or substitute from this. But just keep in mind that in order for the system to work, you need to combine these categories so that you have 4 weeks of work for the 4 weeks of the month. Okay. And let's not keep in mind, or let's do keep in mind that not everything can be batched. For instance, client work cannot be batched, and neither can networking. So getting to know other people in the space, connecting with them, doing joint workshops, guesting on podcasts usually cannot be batched. Anything that has to do with the schedule of other people usually works kind of outside of the system, and I'll talk a little bit later in the next episodes about how to handle those things that you cannot directly control when they happen. So, okay, let us move on a little bit. If anybody has any questions, please be sure to put them in the chat. Let me see if I can refresh the page over here so I can see all your comments. Okay, so let me know what you're thinking about this strategy session so far. Are you liking this system? Can you find some things in there to apply to your business and your life right away? What are some concerns that you have with theming and batching? I would love to hear your thoughts and input, so go ahead and let me know in the comments about what you're thinking about this kind of system. So, one thing that I really want to talk again about is the benefits of batching and theming, because I 100% believe that this is the way that you can be more efficient. So number one benefit is that it gives you peace of mind. Not only do you know that everything that you have to do in your business has a scheduled time for you to work on it, but so then it also allows you to work on other things in the meantime and be more present in those things other than worrying about anything slipping through the cracks or you forgetting to do something, or you forgetting to do your promotion strategy or anything like that. It also allows you to be much more flexible with your time, because especially around the holidays, like we just came from having the holidays at the time of this recording at the end of December and beginning of January, where a lot of us were having trips, family over, some of us got sick, myself included, so that kind of threw a wrench into the plans that we meticulously laid out in the beginning of the month. So this is not a one-time occurrence. It doesn't just occur around Christmas time. There are always things that life throws at us that no matter how well we plan, we can never account for them. And they will throw a wrench into even the best laid plans. And it happens to me all the time. And when it does happen to me, I am so happy to have this batching and theming system because I can very easily switch the weeks around depending on what happens. So let's say I got sick during content week and I didn't produce as much content as I need to for the next month. So then I can say, okay, I'm going to take a break from attending webinars and doing education type activities, and I'm going to really hunker down and complete my content goal for the next month. Whereas if I were doing my content as it was coming out, the week that it was coming out, and knowing me, even though I think a lot about productivity and I apply a lot of these systems, I am a procrastinator at heart. So knowing me, that would be the night before the blog post goes live or the video goes live or whatever. Actually, case in point, today I had my guest reschedule on me, so we canceled the guest appearance, so I had to come up with a topic to talk to you guys now. And I had just decided to do this topic about an hour and a half before we went live on the show. So just in case you guys think that I am perfect and have all this figured out, I am the worst procrastinator, so that's why I come up with all of these systems to keep me in check. So, back to why batching and theming kind of saves me from myself in those situations is that if I were doing it the night before, every time, right, every week before it went live, I went ahead and did it. Then, if I got sick that week, or if my mom dropped by one evening when I was not expecting her, which has happened in the past, then I would be behind. I would either have to pull an all-nighter, which I do not recommend and I do not enjoy doing, or I would just have to skip a week to do the content. And as you know, consistency is very, very, very important in running your business. So this system allows me to be consistent even when my schedule is not being consistent day to day and week to week, because of that flexibility to move and shift things around. So let me guys know if that makes sense to you. If you are liking this, just let me know what you guys are thinking about. Okay, so another benefit that I like to the system is that, like I mentioned before, it gives you peace of mind. Not only you know when everything is being done, but here's the other thing too, is that you know exactly what you are supposed to be doing when. So I will be honest with you, I hate making decisions. And raise your hand or let me know in the comments if you are also averse to making decisions, because making decisions is stressful. We make hundreds of little decisions all throughout the day, and sometimes we are just decision made out. And for a lot of us who have a 9-to-5 or have family responsibilities during the day and we're not full-time in our business, sometimes that translates into like, oh, I don't even want to deal with working on my business because I'm so tired from the day, and I just don't know what I'm going to be working on. I'm just like, okay, I'll just work on it tomorrow. So if that sounds like you, then that is because you have decision-making fatigue from having to make decisions at your job or with your family all day long. So when it comes time to work on your business, you're spent. This system has got your back. This is the system that works even when you don't want to work. And this is why I have been using the system for the past year, actually, a little bit more than a year. And that is because during the day, I'm with my daughter full time. And then in the evening time I have a couple hours to work on my business. So not only can I not afford to waste time thinking about what I'm going to work on each and every single day, I want to hit the ground running with knowing exactly what I'm working on and getting into it a lot faster, and that makes me a lot more efficient in the work that I am doing. This kind of goes more, not so much into the theming, but the batching aspect of it. When you batch like tasks together, your brain gets in the zone with the task. Your brain already knows, like, all right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be writing a blog post, or I'm going to be creating a video, or I'm going to be creating my e-course. So your brain is already working on it even before you're sitting down because it knows what's coming up next. That is the power of batching, and that's why batching makes you so much more efficient than multitasking, which is like the complete opposite of batching. It's that monofocus that you get from only working on one task for an extended period of time. So Brittany says, this is great. I'd love a printable. And you know what? If I was doing this show with a little bit of advance notice, from having the guest reschedule, I would totally create a printable. And in fact, I am going to talk about this topic in a future episode again, so I will be sure to create that printable for next time. So stay tuned. So let's see. Okay, so we're just about at the 30-minute mark in the episode, which is kind of my original target for these things. So I'd like to hear from you. What questions do you have about batching and theming? Do you think this could work for you? And more specifically, I'm interested in hearing what concerns you about the system? What would you think would not work for you if you tried to do this? What questions do you have about batching versus multitasking? What questions do you have about figuring out what those categories should be? So while I wait for the comments, because there is a little bit of a delay in the live stream, I want to tell you a little bit about how you can get started implementing this system right away. So first of all, I'm a big fan of tracking my time. I use a tool called Toggl, Toggl, and it is an online web-based time tracker where you can write down what you're working on and hit start, and it will automatically keep the time for how long you're working on this task. The reason that I like to do this is because, first of all, I know exactly how long each task takes me. So when it comes time to planning the batching or the theming, I know exactly how much content I can get done in a week. I know exactly how long my e-course creation is going to take me based on previous time to film modules and create outlines and all of that. So then my planning becomes a lot more efficient knowing how I currently spend my time. So for the next week or so, until we meet again for the show next Sunday, why don't you try tracking your time using a tool like Toggl, or there's other ones. There's Rescue Time, there's Life Cycle for your phone, all kinds of things. And of course, you can just keep track of it in a spreadsheet or in your notebook. And then once you are tracking your time, you're going to have a really good list of what tasks you are working on regularly in your business. So the next step is to take that list of tasks and then go through them and pick out the ones that are repeatable on a weekly or monthly basis and make a list of those. So generally, there will be things like creating content, sending email newsletters, scheduling social media, watching webinars, all of that kind of stuff. So mostly things that fall into those 4 categories, but I'm a big fan of making the system fit you. So you need to do this exercise for yourself. Think about all the tasks and then categorize them based on what makes sense to you. And then think about what it would be like if you could get all your blog posts done in the same week. Excuse me. If you could get all your social media scheduled for the week or for the month in advance, and just think about the time that it takes you to do it for 1 week, and then multiply it 4 times for the 4 weeks in the following month. So this is a really easy way how you can get started thinking about what categories you would batch and theme and what weeks you'd like to assign. So if there are no other questions about this system, then we will just end here. So thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. I really enjoyed sharing my system of theming and batching, and you'll be sure to hear more about the system in the following episodes of the show as well. Again, if you have any questions, let me go ahead and let me know in the comments. I'll be checking the comments for a few minutes after we are off the air as well. And I look forward to connecting with you again next week, same time, same place, right here on my Facebook page at facebook.com/freeficiency. Okay, so until we meet again, keep building your dreams one day at a time. And I will see you next time on the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. Bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to the Freeficient Entrepreneur Show. You can find more great content like this at freeficiency.com.